Mike and Bernie Winters were a seemingly inseparable English comedy double act that many of you probably have fond recollections of. Their uproarious performances ignited laughter from the mid-50s to the early 70s, making them household names across the UK. Facts First UK presents How Mike and Bernie Winters Died. The truth is just sad. Humble beginnings. To understand the rich and frequently complicated dynamic between the Winters brothers, it's best to take a journey back to when they got their start. In the bustling streets of Islington, London, the two boys were born into a world destined to be illuminated by their artistry. Michael and Bernard Weinstein, the given names behind the duo, were born in 1926 and 30. Growing up in a working-class Jewish family, the boys found solace and camaraderie in each other's company. Their bond was more than brotherly, it was a shared passion for making people laugh. A glimpse of stardom. The first taste of fame came when the brothers started performing in clubs and local theaters. It was the beginning of what would be a lifelong adventure filled with hope and uncertainty. Their big breakthrough arrived in the 50s, and the laughter that once resonated only within their family now began to fill large auditoriums. The UK was about to meet its newest comedy sensation. Mike played the straight man to Bernie's comic fool, a dynamic that worked like a charm. Their performances were sprinkled with both planned sketches and improvisational magic. The act was fresh, entertaining, and hit the very soul of British humor. Television appearances soon followed. Shows like Big Night Out and Sunday Night at the London Palladium brought them into living rooms of families all over the country. Their popularity soared, and their names were soon synonymous with comedy itself. A golden era. The 1960s saw the brothers at the zenith of their popularity. Their television shows were watched by people of all ages, and their live performances were sought after like rare treasures. They had a unique ability to bridge the generation gap, charming both the young and old with their wit. There was no script too tough or audience too challenging for Mike and Bernie. They adapted and thrived, continually evolving their act to stay ahead of the curve. Their sketches became an integral part of popular culture, referenced at dinner tables and reenacted in school plays. That said, their relationship wasn't just about laughs. It was a partnership built on trust and understanding. They knew each other's strengths and weaknesses, and they played to them. Bernie's witty one-liners complemented Mike's well-timed responses, creating a seamless flow that kept audiences engaged and entertained. Even amidst their success, they remained grounded and accessible. Their charm lay in their ability to connect with the ordinary person, making jokes that resonated with everyday life. They didn't just perform, they conversed with their audience, drawing them into a world where laughter was the universal language. By the late 60s, they were icons of British entertainment. They were ambassadors of joy, bringing smiles to faces that needed them the most. Yet, like all great stories, their journey had its chapters of struggle and transformation. Brothers torn apart. As the 70s dawned, the sparkling partnership that had once symbolized the essence of British comedy began to fracture. A disagreement in 1971 over switching agents set in motion a series of events that saw the relationship go into steep decline. Bernie's insistence on loyalty to their long-standing agent Joe Collins over Mike's desire for a fresh perspective marked the first crack in their union. From then on, the breezy banter that once defined their relationship gave way to icy silence. They stopped sharing dressing rooms, stayed at different hotels, and even their wives began to shun each other. On stage, they went through whole performances without making eye contact. The brothers, once inseparable, were trapped in a prison of mutual resentment. As the decade wore on, the decline in their personal relationship mirrored a downturn in their professional fortunes. The venues grew more modest, and the audiences shrank. The laughter that had once filled large halls dwindled to polite applause in smaller theaters. For the embittered brothers, it was a period of misery and disillusionment. The final straw. Their storied journey together ended on a September night in 1978 at Shanklin's Sandown Pavilion Theatre on the Isle of Wight. Tears in his eyes, Bernie announced their breakup and presented Mike with a cut glass bowl bearing the inscription, "To the best straight man in the world." In contrast, Mike's eyes remained dry and his expression was unmistakably void of sentimentality. The catalyst of the breakup remains shrouded in mystery. Some point to the death of their bookmaker father, Moogie, in 1977. Others attribute it to Bernie's affair with Miss Great Britain Dinah May and the subsequent lack of support from Mike. Still others argue the brothers were simply exhausted, out of ideas, and ready to move on. Life after the double act. Mike headed to Miami, pursuing dreams of becoming a writer and impresario. He explored various avenues, from selling TV format ideas to opening a theater club and even venturing into the boxing business. He also published 5 books and became a prominent figure in local charities. Bernie, on the other hand, stayed in England, forging a new partnership with a dog named Schnorbitz. He subsequently starred in several of his own series and continued to enjoy a warm relationship with the viewing public, though his comedy suffered without a straight man to play off of. Despite their physical distance, the bitterness lingered. Both brothers were reluctant to discuss each other publicly, though occasional interviews revealed the extent of their animosity. Mike's accusations and Bernie's retaliations were splashed across the pages of tabloids, turning their once beloved act into a public feud. A brief reconciliation in 1985 did little to heal the wounds. The brothers remained estranged, bound together only by the memories of their shared past. A sad farewell. Tragedy struck when Bernie died May 4, 1991, after a year-long battle with illness. He was only 58. Mike attended his brother's funeral, a somber reflection of their lost bond. Mike continued to live on until August 24, 2013, when he too passed away at age 86. Despite their conflicts and the shadows that marred their later years, the legacy of Mike and Bernie Winters endures. They were more than just a comedy act. They were a symbol of an era, a partnership that transcended mere entertainment. Their story, filled with laughter, triumph, bitterness, and tragedy, is a powerful reminder of the complexities of human relationships and the complicated nature of fame. Mike and Bernie Winters may have been called the poor man's Morecambe and Wise, but they were in truth unique and irreplaceable figures in the world of British comedy. In the end, their tale is one of 2 brothers who conquered the heights of entertainment only to be pulled apart by the very success they sought. It's a story that resonates beyond the footlights and laughter, a saga of dreams realized and bonds broken, leaving behind a bittersweet melody that echoes through the hallowed halls of showbiz history. The tale of Mike and Bernie is, as we've covered, a complex tapestry woven with laughter, success, discord, and loss. Their impact on British comedy is undeniable, and their story continues to connect with fans both old and new. But now it's time to hear from you. Were you a fan of Mike and Bernie during their heyday? What are your favorite memories of the duo? Let us know in the comments section below.